Welcome home to Eden. Welcome to my artist's writing loft in Mexico. And want to just check in with you with a little video for a misconception about Tantra. A question came in that's really good, really great question about, yeah, what's in it for men in Tantra was his question. He had been looking up all kinds of tantric videos, and what he came upon was that there's this request, it seems to be going on in Tantra, to ask men to give up their ejaculation so that women can have their pleasure. So here's the thing. So he's like, why, what do women give up if the men give up their pleasure? Okay, so first big misconception. The reason that Tantra talks about men giving up their ejaculation is not to rob them of their pleasure. It's to enhance their pleasure in major ways. The whole idea of learning to control ejaculation and avoid doing that as your main, cause for sexual relating is it's like three major things. Okay, so one is that once you master the technique of being able to stop your orgasm whenever you want, your ejaculation that is, you begin to have, as a man, a rolling orgasm that comes up your spine with way many more sensations than you've ever experienced before, that are not just flowing through your cock, they're flowing through your whole body. Okay, so it's not to rob you of orgasm, it's to allow you to start to experience the kind of orgasms that are available to women. And you've seen women in their whole body experience where it just keeps going and going and going. Well, the point is, for men in Tantra, is that you are capable of this same level of orgasmic continuation and evolution and expansion that women are. Okay, so that's the very first thing. Your rolling sensations will start to begin flowing up your spine, heading towards your Sahasrara, which is your enlightenment crown chakra. So it starts to merge with your heart and your spirit also, which brings you out of just kind of a basic lust impulse into a much more profound way of making love with women, cosmic love making. Okay, now also, because you have mastered this urge that can go very quickly and then leave the man completely uninterested in the woman, unable to pleasure her or meet her real needs, because he's done within, sometimes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and she's ready to go for hours. And actually she needs at least an hour warm up before she can even begin to meet her level of capabilities in the sexual domain. So you're not even a good lover until you can actually pleasure a woman much more fully and deeply. And then this gets all to the men who are like, oh my god, I lose my erection, I'm not a good lover. Well, if you imagine this, once you start to master your own orgasmic, ejaculation, you start to get more interested in these sensations that are spiritual and heart-centered and full body, right? And so one of the things that happens is the absolute new capability you have to be patient and deeply interested in a woman's pleasure, really interested. So one of the dakas that I know, that a daka is a word for a man who pleasures women, not usually for pay. It's usually like my one friend, his daka thing, it was for about 35 women, and 3 of them were his full-on lovers, but most of them he just kept his clothes on. He used his hands to massage them, and he says, your tongue is great, but your cock is amazing, but they only have one, penetration ability, whereas your hands have 10 at once. And he says you can do so much with your hands for women. So what he said is the pleasure he started to get into was about his providing this extraordinary experience for women. The provision of her bliss made him feel powerful powerful beyond measure, made him feel a kind of a pleasure that was very profoundly masculine, and that her bliss didn't exist without him. It really didn't. Like, we just can't go. We can try to pleasure ourselves as women, but you can't surrender while you're trying to do the thing at the same time. And so he got into this place of like, oh my God, I love this ability I have to deeply, deeply pleasure the woman. So that's a whole nother level that's not physical. It's actually profoundly spiritual, in that you become the man. You really become the man, and your pleasure is now triplefold, because woo, you are getting the picture of what it's like to actually be the producer of her magic and bliss. And that is powerful. It is very powerful to know that you can do this without your cock having to be or do anything, and her having to do anything for you. You can do this incredible thing. So this guy's question comes in, and he's like, well, yeah, but Eve, this is not fair, because, it's just not fair, because the women, it's all this Tantra videos are all about pleasuring the women. Maybe there's one here or there about lingam massage. By the way, I have one. It's called soft cock massage. The benefits of it or something. Soft cock massage. But look, Tantra, there's two big things to look at here. One is the misconception that Tantra is all about sex positions, because real Tantra, so this is what Americans have done to Tantra. Americans, Westerners have turned it all into something about sex positions. And how many sex positions can you get into, and how many moves can you do? Because there's the Kama Sutra, which shows all these different sex positions. Okay, but what's left out of that is the actual tantric path of passionate love, which Deepak Chopra talks about, which means that you can't get a woman to do any of those sex positions unless you pay her money, in which case she'll hate you for it. Or she's like just really not in her heart. She's just really masculine within it. She just wants physicality. But a real woman of heart is not going to do any of those positions with you. She's going to hate you for it. She's going to feel used, unless you are a real tantric practitioner, which means opening your heart and spirit at the same time as opening your sensuality and sexuality. Yes. So the real tantric path is a very mystical one. It's very deeply spiritual. So if you go to a tantric workshop and it's all about all these moves and all these positions and all these things you're supposed to just do for women and not men, and you're feeling jealous, well, you're never going to open into the tantric path without love, without actual devotional, surrendered love to another human being. Okay, whether man or woman, it doesn't matter. It simply matters that there's love there. Love, devotion, care. And it can be, there's 1,000 different arrangements for your love. You could be, polyamorous, you could be polygamous, none of that matters. What does matter is love. Love, you can feel it. You know when there's love, loving kindness and devotion there for you. It's a very different vibration. So here, now let's look at the major complaint this guy had that he sent in to me, that's really, really the most important one to look at, which is that he's like, why is this all about women? Why can't it be more about men? It's not fair. Well, listen, we've got thousands of years of men getting what they need and what they want. Okay, we have thousands of years we're trying to make up for in a very short time, and we're not about punishing men or with depriving them of their pleasure. It's simply that the missing piece has to be put into place, and it has to be learned, and it takes time, and it's not instant, and it is